A desperate millionaire's daughter can't walk. One day, a scrappy beggar boy approaches the millionaire with a shocking claim. "Sir, I can make your daughter walk again." The millionaire freezes, he's skeptical, but something about the boy's confidence and story shakes his world. This isn't just about money or power, it's about hope, courage, and an unbelievable journey that neither expected. The story reveals raw emotions, unexpected twists, and a deeper lesson about faith and humanity that will grip viewers from start to finish. Before starting the story, make sure to subscribe the channel so that you don't miss any update in future. "Sir, I can make your daughter walk again." The words hit him like a thunderbolt. The millionaire's world froze in that instant, his eyes locked on the ragged boy standing before him, a stranger from the streets, daring to make a promise no doctor ever could. For years, he'd poured millions into every possible treatment, every expert, every hope. Yet here was this beggar, barely older than a child, claiming to hold the key to the impossible. He wanted to laugh it off, dismiss it as desperation or a cruel joke. But something in the boy's gaze stopped him. It wasn't just confidence. It was an unshakable fire, a truth burning brighter than any diamond in his vault. And in that frozen moment, the millionaire realized this was no ordinary encounter. This was the beginning of a story that would change everything he thought he knew about power, hope, and the meaning of miracles. The millionaire's daughter sat silently in the corner of the grand room, a fragile shadow of the vibrant girl she once was. Her wheelchair was more than just a seat. It was a cage trapping a world full of dreams she couldn't chase. Doctors had given up hope. Friends offered condolences wrapped in polite smiles. But this boy, this beggar with dirt-smudged hands and eyes full of fire, he was different. "Why should I believe you?" the millionaire finally asked, voice tight with years of disappointment. The boy didn't flinch. "Because I've been where she is. I've felt the weight of a world telling me I'm broken, useless. But I found a way out. Not through wealth or machines, but through something much stronger." The room fell silent. The kind of silence that stretches and tightens like a noose around every doubt. The millionaire's heart pounded. Was this madness? Or was it the chance he'd been waiting for? The boy's eyes didn't waver as he leaned closer, his voice dropping to a whisper that carried the weight of untold stories. "It's not medicine or miracles," he said. "It's belief. Pure, unbreakable belief that the body can heal when the mind refuses to give up." The millionaire scoffed, the cynicism built over years bubbling to the surface. "That's just words." But the boy shook his head. "No, sir. It's a truth I learned the hard way. You see, I was once broken too, crippled by fate, dismissed by everyone. But I found a path to walk again, not because someone gave me a chance, but because I believed I could." A flicker of something long buried sparked inside the millionaire. Was this boy trying to teach him a lesson money never could? He didn't know yet. But one thing was clear, the boy's story wasn't finished, and neither was his own. The millionaire sat back, the weight of the boy's words sinking into the room like a heavy fog. His mind raced. Had hope become so scarce that he was willing to gamble on the impossible? The boy's story wasn't just empty talk. It was carved from the scars of a life no one cared to notice. "I wasn't always a beggar," the boy began, voice steady but tinged with something painful. "I was once a boy with dreams, just like your daughter. But fate hit hard. An accident left me unable to walk. People saw a cripple, not a kid with a future. Doors closed, dreams shattered. I was thrown to the streets, invisible to the world." He paused, eyes searching the millionaire's face. "But I refused to accept that. Every day I told myself, if my body can't move, my mind must find a way. I found old books, watched people, learned about the power of will, about how the brain can rewire the body if you fight hard enough." The millionaire's heart twisted. Here was a boy who had lost everything yet refused to be broken. His daughter, wrapped in silence and sorrow, deserved that same fire. "Tell me," the millionaire said quietly, "how exactly can you help her walk again?" The boy smiled, a mix of sadness and fierce hope. It won't be easy. It'll take time, pain, and belief. But I promise you, sir, it's possible. And it starts with one step inside her mind. The millionaire leaned forward, caught between skepticism and a desperate flicker of hope. How could this ragged boy, with no medical training or fancy equipment, offer what the world's best doctors had failed to deliver? The boy's gaze locked onto his, unwavering. It's not about machines or medicine, sir. It's about rewiring the mind, teaching her brain to believe that she can walk again. There's a power in the mind that's stronger than any pill or surgery. He reached into his worn bag and pulled out a faded notebook, pages filled with crude drawings and notes, his personal guide to mental healing. This, he said, is the map I followed. It's a journey of patience, pain, and unshakable faith. The millionaire's heart pounded. The thought of his daughter taking even a single step, no matter how small, felt like a miracle within reach. Yet doubt whispered, loud and relentless. Could faith alone undo years of injury? The boy's voice softened. I don't promise a miracle overnight, but I promise progress. Step by step, day by day. The millionaire's eyes searched the boy's face for any sign of deceit, but found only raw, unfiltered hope. And in that moment, the impossible began to feel possible. Days turned into weeks. The millionaire watched from a distance, skepticism battling with curiosity as the boy began his work, not with machines, but with small, deliberate steps. At first, it was just simple exercises, mental visualizations, focused breathing, and gentle encouragement whispered into the daughter's ear. The boy's voice was calm but filled with a fierce determination that seemed to breathe life into the stillness. Imagine your legs moving, he'd say softly. Feel the strength in your muscles. Believe you can. The room, once heavy with silence and despair, began to crack with fragile sparks of hope. The millionaire's daughter flinched at first, then twitched, a tiny movement, almost imperceptible. But it was enough to make the millionaire's heart leap. Yet, for every small victory, there were moments of frustration, tears, and doubt. The journey wasn't easy. The boy himself bore the weight of every setback as if it was his own pain. But he never gave up. And slowly, very slowly, the impossible started to whisper that maybe, just maybe, this was more than a miracle. One evening, as the golden light slipped through the window, the millionaire found himself watching quietly from the doorway. The boy sat beside his daughter, holding her hand with a gentleness that belied his rough appearance. Close your eyes, the boy whispered. Picture yourself walking through the garden, feel the grass beneath your feet, the sun warming your face. Her lips trembled, tears escaping down her cheeks, not from pain, but from the rush of emotions long buried. The millionaire's breath caught. This wasn't just therapy, it was a battle of wills between despair and hope, fear and courage. Suddenly, her foot twitched again, stronger this time. The boy's eyes lit up, and the millionaire felt something crack inside him, a fragile thread of belief weaving its way through years of disappointment. But the road ahead was still steep, littered with moments that could break even the strongest spirit. Yet, as the boy looked up and caught the millionaire's gaze, he smiled softly, as if silently saying, "We're just getting started." The days that followed were a whirlwind of small battles and tiny victories. The millionaire watched as his daughter's world slowly shifted from stillness to movement, not just in her body, but in her spirit. The boy's methods were unconventional, almost mystical to the outsiders. He'd talk about rewiring the brain, unlocking hidden strength, and awakening a power that no doctor could measure. But it worked. One morning, the daughter surprised them all. Her leg twitched, then lifted, just an inch, but enough to send a shockwave through the room. Tears streamed down the millionaire's face. After years of helplessness, after endless nights of prayers, here was the first sign of hope that felt real. Yet, even in this breakthrough, doubt lingered. Would it last? Was this just a fleeting moment, or the start of a true miracle? The boy, watching quietly, knew the road was far from over. But in that moment, the impossible was inching closer, one trembling step at a time. That night, the millionaire sat alone in his study, staring at the flickering candlelight as his mind raced. Could this ragged boy really rewrite his daughter's fate? The world outside remained indifferent, a place where wealth and status often meant nothing against the cruelty of illness. Yet, inside that quiet room, a fragile battle was unfolding. The boy's voice echoed in his thoughts. Belief is the strongest medicine. He realized then that this was more than just a physical fight. It was a war against despair, against the voices that said never again. The millionaire made a choice. Not just to watch, but to believe, to invest in this impossible hope. Meanwhile, the daughter slept fitfully, dreams flickering with shadows and light, caught between fear and the faintest whisper of freedom. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But tonight, the millionaire dared to hope. Morning came quietly, wrapping the room in soft light. The boy was already there, sitting patiently beside the daughter, his presence a steady anchor in the storm. Today, he said, we try something different. With careful hands, he helped her focus, mind and body working in unison. He spoke gently, guiding her through mental exercises designed to awaken dormant muscles, to rebuild connections lost to pain and silence. The millionaire watched, heart pounding. Every small twitch, every blink, felt like a victory carved from years of defeat. Then, suddenly, her foot lifted higher, trembling but unmistakable. The room held its breath. The millionaire's eyes filled with tears. It was a step, a real step, towards a future he thought was gone forever. But the boy's voice kept them grounded. This is just the beginning. There will be hard days ahead. The millionaire nodded, knowing the fight was far from over, but feeling for the first time that maybe, just maybe, miracles were possible. Days turned into weeks, and the millionaire's daughter slowly began reclaiming her strength, not just in her legs, but in her spirit too. The boy's unwavering belief became the spark that lit a fire inside her, a fire that no cast, no wheelchair could ever contain. But progress wasn't linear. There were setbacks, moments when the pain seemed unbearable, when frustration threatened to swallow them whole. One evening, after a particularly difficult session, the daughter broke down in tears, feeling trapped in a body that wouldn't obey. The boy held her close, whispering words of encouragement that felt like a lifeline. Every tear, every struggle, it's part of your story. The strongest warriors carry their scars with pride. The millionaire watched, heart aching but full of hope, knowing that true healing wasn't just physical, it was a battle fought in the depths of the soul. Then, one day, something happened that no one expected. As the millionaire watched from across the room, his daughter slowly, deliberately, lifted herself, one trembling step at a time. Her face was a mixture of pain, determination, and something else, a fierce, unbreakable hope. The boy smiled quietly, his eyes shining with a secret only he knew. This, he said softly, is just the beginning of her journey. Healing isn't a destination, it's a lifetime. The millionaire felt a rush of emotions, relief, disbelief, gratitude. He realized that sometimes the greatest miracles aren't found in doctors or machines, but in the courage to believe, the power of the human spirit, and the unexpected kindness of a beggar boy who refused to give up. As the daughter took another step, the millionaire whispered a vow, never to stop believing, never to stop fighting. And somewhere, deep inside, a new story was beginning, one that no one would forget. True miracles aren't just about medicine or money. They're born from unwavering belief, the strength of the human spirit, and the kindness that comes from the most unexpected places.